I definitely have heard stories from people close to me and slightly further away of stories that are just very unpleasant and just very inappropriate and oppressive, to be quite honest.
I mean, it goes from coming into a room where you might be the only person of color and being asked to go get the coffee or the tea or take the minutes, even though that's not your job, to not even actually being let into a room by a white colleague because they don't believe you're meant to be in that space. And so, that's just small things. They're much more extreme examples of what people have been experiencing. But because I hadn't been experiencing that, I didn't realize the depth of what people were experiencing. And I just felt like there was a lot for us to do, for sure.
I was struck really by some of the experiences that my black colleagues had and relayed during those sessions. And I like to think as a person in the UK, as a white person, that some of those things just don't happen. And that we're all very supportive and inclusive, but we're not. It doesn't always happen, and that some of the examples, my colleague was describing an incident in the 1970s where her brother was walking down a predominantly white street, and the police bundled him into a van at the age of 13 and held him in a police station for simply walking down a street without contacting his parents and letting them know where he was.
We really decided that, we need to take serious action. We need to look at we had created a race equality action plan, but we needed to update that, and then we needed to look at our training offer, and we wanted to speak to our members of staff and see what they wanted out of all of this. And as a result, I think the anti-racism training offer was something that we decided would be the best way to move forward with.
There was a lot of work done on getting the stakeholders involved in the process. Yeah. So it wasn't something that OD and NND said, we're going to get somebody in and this is how it's going to be delivered. It wasn't like that. It was like a lot of communication was taking place. I've seen my colleagues going to the Camden Black Workers Union, going to having the forums taking place where they can get staff involved, having show and tells, keeping them along the process of developing the learning offer. That was really important.
We've done a lot of work on inclusion and conscious inclusion, but there was this real sense of, had we gone far enough? Were we doing enough as an organisation, and what more did we need to do? And the Race Equality Action Plan brought together a lot of those actions. So some of those are more systemic actions, thinking about our recruitment practices and the kind of work we're doing across the organisation. And the learning offer was a key strand in there, thinking about how we supported our staff to be anti-racist and to challenge racism in all its forms.
It was actually quite, not alarming, but it opened my eyes to the fact that so many people hadn't really not only experienced the discriminations that are out there, but didn't understand the depth of what people are going through in their day-to-day life. So it was very much an eye-opening experience for a lot of people.
It's been one of the most enlightening things I've ever done, but also within Camden, I'm thinking, do you know what? This is the opportunity to make a seismic change. No doubt about it, because my belief is it's coming from the top, but now they've got to put their money where their mouth is. Deliver. We're doing it. We've got the platform. Deliver.
I have had many conversations with colleagues across the organisation and Black and Asian minority ethnic colleagues specifically, saying how racism has impacted on their lives. Really difficult conversations and very personal conversations about their experiences of racism, which illustrates the need for us to tackle the issue, but highlights that when they come into an organisation where they feel that racism is part of, that they can't contribute their full potential because they don't feel their full selves. They're carrying a weight. And so that has really been highlighted through this work and illustrates the culture that we need to change. And I think this work is doing that.
I wanted the offer to continue rather than just go on the training, have a reflection session, which is really good, gives you a chance to reflect on what you've learned, any roadblocks, commitments, how you're going to get over it, so on and so forth. But then you need to come back 6 months' time, ask the same question again, 6 months from then, ask that same question again. So it's a constant thing rather than just go on the training and then it's job done.
There's been some real positive changes or positive things starting to happen within Camden. People talking about having the safe spaces within their teams to talk and reflect. Teams having anti-racism as like the first item on their agenda every week and making sure, you know, people are accountable for that. Managers have said that they've taken the time to actually speak on a one-to-one basis with people of colour on their team, to ask them about their personal experience, to ask them if, you know, they can support them or if they in any way have felt discriminated against in their time here.
One of the real sort of underlying messages that's come out of the training offering, if you like, has been about feeling comfortable, about feeling uncomfortable, and that's a message that I've tried to really push with my teams, and to accept the fact that there are going to be awkward conversations and there are going to be difficult conversations.
I feel like our culture has changed, it has shifted to a place where we are more courageous with these conversations, or people hopefully feel a bit more supported to actually speak up and speak out and seek support themselves if they're struggling or if they're, you know, experiencing any race inequality in the workplace or in their lives.
The work that we're doing is not just a moment in time. It's a momentum that's, you know, it's important that it starts now, but then actually it's galvanized by everyone's energy and that commitment. And we need to make sure that everybody across the organisation has signed up to this.
So I look forward to the future and what, you know, the continued positive changes that this has kind of instigated.